6888 Central Postal Director started in Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia.
We call it 6888 CPD.
That's when I was overseas with 6888.
We call it the 6888.
The entire country was mobilized in support of the World War.
In July 1943, General Eisenhower had asked for women to be sent to him, and auxiliaries were not allowed to be sent overseas. So at that time, they started to create the WAC bill, the Women's Army Corps bill.
I said, a WAC? I said, I had a cousin that was a WAC. She said, really?
Many of the women in World War II were recruited because of their skills. But at the same time, I sometimes wonder how much they don't really realize what role models they are for the generations of women that come behind them.
White people never expected anything of us. You see, so when you got out there and did something that was extraordinary, they said somebody else must have done that.
While telling that story and documenting what these particular military units, that in most cases were all military, were all black, and most times they had a white commander, but those soldiers still performed at the same level as their white counterparts in terms of defending and providing for the democracy of this country.
Thank you everyone for joining us. I would like to go ahead and introduce our panel. Elizabeth Ann Helm-Frazier is a veteran of the United States Army. She retired in 2006 with the rank of Master Sergeant after 25 years of various assignments throughout Europe, Korea, and the United States. Master Sergeant Helm-Frazier was born in St. Petersburg, Florida, and raised in Largo, Florida. She is the oldest of 5 siblings. On a promise that she made to her brother, Johnny W. Helm, who lost his life to cancer, to walk until there was a cure, she founded the Walk to Cure Cancer Tour. She has since completed 29 cancer walks in his name and has the goal to complete a walk in every state. So far, she has completed 8 states and DC. In 2018, she joined the 6888 Monument Committee, in which she successfully raised funds for the 6888th Monument at Fort Leavenworth, Kansas, and has also been the producer of the 6888 documentary. She was an integral part of the efforts to recognize the women of the 6888 with both the Congressional Gold Medal and the 6888th United States Postal Stamp. Master Sergeant Helm-Frazier holds a Bachelor's of Business Administration and a Master's in Human Resources. She currently attends Berwyn Presbyterian Church in Berwyn Heights, Maryland, and she works at the Department of Veteran Affairs in Washington, D.C. Thank you so much for joining us, Elizabeth. Alva Stevenson is Program Coordinator. Her 37-year career focuses on the collection of oral histories related to African Americans in Los Angeles. In addition to her research interests, the history of Blacks in Mexico and the historical and genealogical connections between Afro-Mexicans and African Americans. Thank you so much for joining us, Alva. Rosenda Moore, for the past 29 years, has worked in the financial department of the Museum of Contemporary Arts in Los Angeles. Rosenda is also a certified tax preparer. She is a graduate from La Loyola Marymount University in Westchester, California. Thank you for being here, Rosenda. Patricia Jackson-Kelley is a veteran of the United States Air Force and Air Force, Army, and Navy Reserve. She retired at the rank of Lieutenant Colonel after 26 years of combined active duty and reserve service. Lieutenant Colonel Jackson-Kelley served as the program manager for the Substance Abuse Ward and also the Women Veteran Program Manager at the West LA Department of Veteran Affairs. There, she was instrumental for implementing programs funding, and resources for women veterans. She also serves as one of the initial board members of U.S. Vets. Lieutenant Colonel Jackson-Kelley has received numerous awards and accommodations. President George W. Bush, California Governor's Office, 2006 and 2009, NAACP, Blacks in Government, and various community organizations, to include accommodations from the past VA Secretary, Robert McDonald, for her service on the National Center of Minority Veteran Committees from 2015 to 2017, and the Lifetime Legacy Award by Connecting Women of Influence. Currently, Lieutenant Colonel Jackson-Kelley serves as the National President of the National Association of Black Military Women and is on the Board of Directors for Foundation for Women Warriors. Wow, Patricia, thank you so much for your service to the community, and thank you very much for being here. So I'll move to Rosenda and Alva. Can you share with us a little bit about your mother's service and how much she talked about it at home?
Well, she actually did not talk about it very much at all when we were growing up. And we really only learned after I did a short interview with her for my master's thesis, and as I was doing my genealogy. And that's when we really learned a lot, about her service. But yeah, we knew very little.
Yeah, that's true. She literally only ever said one thing to me up until the years that Alva and I found out that information when she was interviewing our mother and her sisters for her master's thesis. The only thing she'd ever said to me was, she served in World War II. She didn't even mention the name 6888. She just said she was over there, they processed mail, and she said every once in a while she was asked to do some interpreting work because she's bilingual, English and Spanish. And then I think the only other thing she ever said to me also at that time was, she said, as a more humorous note, she said, the food was kind of bland in England. But, she just said that. But she literally said nothing else at all about it. And that's actually also, our father never said anything about his military service either. And then, as I mentioned, when I spoke during the film, there's all this wealth of information that came out when Alva's interviewing her about 6888, the work they did, her camaraderie with the other women that were part of the battalion.
Yeah.
So that was amazing. And then we learned even more long after our mother passed and after our father passed. We had to go through all these pictures, and that's when we found all of those photographs and the voiceograph, and then during when we heard about the monument dedication, our cousin Jeff, who's there in Missouri, saw a news story about the monument dedication, and you guys should be there. And he got the contact information for us. So, and that led to us learning just everything else. And it was a great honor to meet Liz and everyone else that we've met through this, and Commander Philpott, filmmaker, and to meet 5 of the women who are still alive. That was amazing. That was really something.
Elizabeth, we're going to go back to the question about you being the producer. Can you tell us a little bit about that experience and about how many women are still living today?
Okay, well, first, I want to say really a big thank you to you guys, the Foundation for Women Warriors, for doing all of this. I'm not an IT person, so, technology and I really don't get along at all, okay? So I'm learning this. So thank you. On behalf of all of us of the 6888 family, we want to say thank you for doing this. There are right now, as of what we know right now, there are 11 living members. Being a producer, Edna Cummings and I are the producers, but Edna and I started way back at the monument, and we we were just going to raise money to get the monument because that was our goal. And then James Fayes, we call him Jim, he works at the Department of Veteran Affairs also. He works for the National Cemetery Administration. He came out for the dedication, November of 2018, and said, hey, you know, we got to get this on record. We got to film this. And so while we were there at Fort Leavenworth, we had the 5 living members there. And we ran around and got to interview each one of them. You saw them in the movie. You saw Miss Rudock, who lives here in about 15 minutes from me. You saw Miss Campbell. She's the one that went up in the airplane. You saw Mrs. King. Mrs. King lives out in Las Vegas. You saw Miss Robinson. She lives up in Wisconsin. And then you, of course, saw Miss Elizabeth Barker Johnson, and she and I have the connection because both of our names are Elizabeth. You saw her, and they were the 5 living ones at the time that we knew of, so they were all out there. And as I said before, a producer's job is really hard, so that's not going to be something that I'm going to do after I get through working at the VA. It is a job that I have a newfound respect for. And remember, Edna and I do this voluntarily because I still work and then she owns her own business. So it's a lot of volunteer hours.
Well, thank you so much for volunteering your efforts to honor these women. They were really, truly amazing. And without you all getting together, we would never be able to see this and share it with America. And Foundation for Women Warriors is honored to be a part of honoring their history.
Thank you.
Patricia, you're on the board for Foundation for Women Warriors, amongst many others. Could you tell us a little bit about being the president of the National Association of Black Military Women and how to become involved in the organization?
The National Association of Black Military Women was founded in 1976, and it was founded by a group of 21 women, Black military women, who realized that the history of Black military women was not being documented. So they founded this organization for the sole purposes of documenting the history of Black military women. And so over the years, it has become a professional organization where initially it was considered a social organization. So we have been trying to connect with the Library of Congress, which we've done recently, and also the National Black History Museum in Washington, D.C., so that we can have the women's stories in place, located in a place. So we have 4 chapters, 2 in New York, 1 in Atlanta, and 1 in Los Angeles. And we're currently on the way to have a chapter in Virginia and Washington, D.C. So we will have 5 chapters, and we're trying to establish 1 in North Carolina as well. So we are really growing, and we have really emphasize the importance of connecting with other organizations in the community in order to grow our organization. So that's why we've connected with the Foundation for Women Warriors. And our CEO, Jody Grenier, is one of our members on our for the National Association of Black Military Women. So we are really growing, and we are proud to be associated with the 6888.
And if anyone's interested in joining, how can they join?
We have a website, which is nabmw.org. And all you need to do is go to the website. And once you go to the website, there's an application that you fill out. You may become, if you're in the military, you can become a member. If you're not in the military, you can still become a member. You can become an associate member. The dues are very inexpensive, $25 a year currently, and we encourage all members, all nationalities, to please join us as members.
Great. Thank you very much for sharing, Patricia. We have one question from our audience. Between their training, working overseas, and returning to the States, if any of our panelists can answer, how long was that period of time for the 688?
This was a unit that was designed, its mission was just for the male. A lot of the women were already in the service and they volunteered for this unit. So they went to training because at that time you had to train to go overseas. So they went to training at Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia, which is that northeastern part of Georgia. So they trained for that. Then they went on to New York. That's where they caught the Ile-de-France and then sailed over to Birmingham. And, of course, they ran into some troubles because the war was still going on. Their first duty assignment was Birmingham, England. So if you look at a map of England and look at London, go north and go northwest, and Birmingham is northwest of London. The Army, the military, gave them 6 months to get this mission done, and because of the strategic planning that Major Adams and her executive staff did, they set it up so that there were 3 shifts, they worked around the clock, and they were able to reduce this backlog in 3 months. And so with that, they then left Birmingham and then went over to Lyon, France, and did the exact same thing in the exact same amount of time, 3 months. And then after that, they came back to the States. They came to Fort Dix, which is now disbanded, but they came to Fort Dix, New Jersey, and that's where they were discharged, and because they were given a choice. They could stay in the military or they can get out. A lot of them got out. A lot of them stayed in. Mrs. McClendon, who lives out in Arizona, she stayed in, and she went over to the Air Force, and she is a retired Air Force major. So it was roughly, I want to say anywhere from a year to about 18 months. I don't have it right here in front of me, but about a year, 18 months.
Currently, with everything that we're facing in the United States, how can learning African-American military history help the country move forward? And how can our audience do this?
Well, one way that they can help is that the Congressional Gold Medal is being sought for the 6888, the remaining members that are alive now. And you can call your congressional constituent and ask them if they will please help move this bill forward so that we can at least recognize the people that are still alive and they can have the fame of having this Congressional Gold Medal. So Liz can tell you more about that. Liz is also a member of the National Association of Black Military Women, and 7 of the women who belong to the 6888 are members of our organization as well.
I will tell you what Ms. Rudock always says, who is one of the 6888 members, because she gets asked that question about history, okay? And she says, tell the young people about the history. Tell them about it. Sit down and say, hey, let me tell you about this unit, the 6888 Central Postal Directory Battalion. Let me tell you about the Harlem Hellraisers. Let me tell you about the Triple Nickel, the all-black parachute unit. So history is passed down. History is taught by passing it down. How can you do that? There are, like the internet is crazy. The internet did wonders for history and travel, okay? I know because I'm on the internet all the time looking up history stuff and traveling. And books. There are books out there about our history now. Is there more? Yeah. So check out the website for the 6888. It is Women of the 6888th.org. That's the website. And again, we're trying to get this Congressional Gold Medal. You can go to the U.S. Senate and put the bill in. For the Senate, it's S.633. That's the Senate bill. For the Senate, we now have 47 co-sponsors. And for the House of Representatives, we have, I think, right at 90.
96.
96, okay. If you want more information, I do have a draft letter, which you can email, you can call. I just mailed out 6 letters yesterday. If you want more letters, if you want more information about that, you can email me. My email address is lowercase letters, lizspirit@yahoo.com, and that's Liz, LIZZSPIRIT @yahoo.com. So send me your information, and I will email you a draft copy of the letter that we did, and make it fun. Make this a history event. Okay? That's a good way to talk about history. Get your kids, get family members. You're already in the house, so, this is a good time to write some letters. Okay?
Rosenda and Alva, anything to add to that question?
Just to reiterate everything that's already been said, but I would take it a step further. I think we need to get this history into the curriculum in the schools, and that, as I've done with my own grandkids, to start teaching them this history very early. And I also feel in the current climate of the country and what they're calling this conversation on race, that I think that, so many families in the country have members of their family that have served. And I think the story of the 6888 really humanizes us as a people. It combats racism. It really does.
Yeah, they didn't shy away from the very different climate that they were living in, not just in the military, but in the outside world. And they didn't shy away from that. They went right straight into World War II overseas, where they had never been before. They did the best they could possibly do. They exceeded all expectations of them. And, they didn't think twice about that challenge, and they just went for it. They saw it through, and they accomplished, like I said, they accomplished what they needed to.
We're getting close on time. We have one more question for our audience, and then that'll be our last question for this evening. How do you think relationships are today with Black women in the United States military? Do you believe that they are being promoted on their ability, or is racism still prevailing in the military?
Personally, I think racism is still prevailing in the military. It's not as overt as it was when I was in the military, but it's still there. And I think that one thing that is emerging now is that the leaders are speaking out. So I think that things will get better as years come, because you hear the leaders in the military that are speaking out saying that racism exists. And before that was not done. So I think that it will get better.
And I also think, to add on to what you said, Patricia, in these times where all of the younger generations make full use, and the rest of us in older generations make really full use of social media and reaching out and reaching out to others to let them know about things that are happening in the world that they feel need to be taught, need to be learned from, need to be aware of, spoken out against, the things that are negative and bad. This is another good opportunity for us to reach a lot of people, and especially the young folks that Alva mentioned. Because, you know, they're on social media all day, every day. And, you know, this is one more thing we can reach out to them about, to teach them this history, and also to learn lessons from it.
Well, ladies, that is all the time that we have this evening. Thank you all very much. We greatly appreciate you participating.
Thank you.
And it was
Thank you very much.
You all.
Okay.
Jody, I'm going to hand it back over to you.
Thank you so much, Keshia. Thank you, Elizabeth, Rosenda, Alva, Patricia, Jackson-Kelley. I want to, again, thank you all for your participation, joining us this evening, whether you were on Facebook or through Zoom. We appreciate each and every one of you. If there's anything I can do for you personally, please do not hesitate to reach out, especially in these times where we're all in this together. Thank you again. Take care.